Right, 2 minute drill time here. We're gonna do a little Marvel detour here. Marvel's Daredevil Born Again season 2 premiered last week on Tuesday. Back with me today here, the unofficial Marvel guy for the Just and the Suffering podcast. Nick D'Alessio is here. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great. I feel like I'm a lot of unofficial guys to podcasts, but I'm totally fine with that. Happy to be here.
Yeah, last year Nick came on. Appreciate him coming on again. We covered the 2 episode premiere of Daredevil Born Again season 1. Now we got season 2, a little slower than I thought, but I do think they gave you enough to kind of like hook you in and say, okay, like I'm intrigued to see what's coming.
Yeah, I agree. It started off, I think it started off really strong. We'll get a little more into it. I'm very excited to see where this is going, and I'm very excited that they gave them the freedom, like Disney did, to like show compound fractures and make it a little bit more gritty and brutal, kind of like almost like similar to how it was like when it was a Netflix show. I'm like, it feels like we're almost back to that now.
I mean, we were back to the other season 1 when Wilson's face basically squeezes a guy's head down into a melon.
Right. Well, so I think if correct me if I'm wrong, season Born Again season one was like they kind of took two different versions of the show and mashed them together, right?
Yeah, they had a different, the middle episodes you can see is like sort of like the more legal drama version, and then they went back to the more original version. I think they shot a new premiere, and the last couple are back on that track.
Right. And I think they had a different director for the back on track ones
Yeah.
where I think they gave him the keys for this season two to just be like, do what you want now. And it shows right away.
Yeah, Dario Scarpane is the showrunner, and like he takes over in the back end there. He directed the last couple episodes of season 1, the first two of season 2. So we're gonna get him next week directing as like writing as well for that episode. So a lot of fun there. And I will say, I think this show, like you were right. I think to call out the action, like the action sequence we got on the barge to start the season, I think is probably one of the like more cool drawn out action shots we had, I think, in the entire show so far.
Yeah, I'd agree because like I think the big draw of the Netflix version of the
Yeah.
show, like the first season in particular, was like people always think about the hallway scene,
Yeah.
or in season two they think about the stairwell scene. Like Daredevil kind of was known for having these really awesome action set pieces, and so like Born Again, you're like, are they gonna try to do that? Are they gonna try to recreate that? And having the whole starting off sequence on the boat where he's doing the infiltration and the light shines and he's got the DD on his suit for the first time. It feels like they're trying to get back to what people think made Daredevil great.
Yeah, that sequence is a lot of fun, and I love that they have it all in the dark, so you can't really see what's going on. You're in this point of those like goons where you're like you have no idea where he's coming from. All of a sudden he's just there, and great like image at the end of like the body cam footage of the DD logo. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is the first time they've ever shown that logo, which is
Yep.
more similar to how it is in like the comic books and stuff. And I think even the Ben Affleck Daredevil had the DD logo,
Yeah.
So I think this is the first time they're showing that. And yeah, that whole sequence was great. It's classic Daredevil. It's he's I like what they're starting off with this one where like in the previous season it was kind of like Matt giving up on Daredevil and trying to like be a lawyer and get his life back on track. It almost feels like we're seeing the opposite now where like he's lost who Matt is and he's just become Daredevil, and it's even more like visceral. Like he's even screaming as he's punching people. Like he's like yelling and like it's way more brutal and he's really leaning into it. And I'm curious to see where that thread goes of him kind of losing himself and becoming this brutal version of Daredevil.
Yeah, that's true here. And I did like the dynamic we set up here where season 1, we spent a lot of time with him at the law firm and him with Heather before they break up and him in public life. And now we're basically like he's in hiding because of the events of season 1. He's got Karen back, like Karen Page back on his side. They're working together. They're like back in a relationship, it seems like, and that they're working the angles here to try and bring Fist down for good. So I do think like this is a fun, like, throwback to the original like Netflix dynamic of it, especially at the early season. Because by I think season 3, we would agree like Karen kind of has her own storyline at that point without Matt. So like now like they're kind of back in the mix together, which is something we haven't had since the early days of the Netflix show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they hinted towards like a trial that's going to be happening. There's like the vigilante trial or something. So I do want to see a little bit of courtroom. Like I think Daredevil is so unique and interesting because it's 60-70% standard action superhero show, and then like 30-40% courtroom drama, and like that's like where it shines. And I do want to see more of that. I don't know if we're going to see Matt participate in these court hearings, but like there is going to be some type of trial happening, and I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm curious too here, and obviously we got like the beginnings of like his squad. We'll talk about this a bit later on. We'll talk about this season here. That's like they're working together. BB Urich is like doing propaganda for the mayor. Just basically, she was like blackmailed at the end of season one, but she's still trying to dig with basically counter source to get real information on what's going on here. I did love the propaganda video that she makes about how New York is fine. Like the image of the cops throwing the hula hoop on her arm is like just so unintentionally funny.
Yeah, and the color is like oversaturated, and it's clear. It's like clearly not real, but like it's they. I don't want we're not going to talk about like current politics, but there's a lot of interesting parallels that they're drawing, and just kind of like I I don't know where you think they're going with BB. I think I'm gonna jump ahead now for this BB plot. Who do you think was like the masked Fisk doing like
Voices.
they showed the original propaganda video, and then they cut it short and they show like the FU kind of thing, and then it cuts to somebody wearing a fist mask. Like, is that BB, or do you think that's somebody else?
I think it's BB with voice manipulation.
Yeah, because it's a smaller frame and they have a lot of like B-roll footage. So I'm like, okay, so clearly like she makes it pretty clear she's getting close to like almost try to take him down, you know?
Yeah, that's a fun storyline to track here. And another fun one that storyline here, we got like one of our new characters as well, Mr. Charles, the CIA guy, played by Matthew Lillard. Like he's so fun where he just shows up and like he basically makes like the because at one point I think like Fisk basically is getting like harassed by like state government officials and Mr. Charles shows up like, hey, go away. Like you might want to answer that. And basically he gets them off of Fisk and then they have that dinner scene later on where Mr. Charles meets Wilson and his wife for dinner, and
Mhm.
basically he implies like just because I helped you like doesn't mean like I'm your friend. So I like as that little threatening dynamic where he's like like be careful you stay on my good side here. So I'm curious like where Mr. Charles ends up falling. As we do learn that like Valentina de la Fontaine sent him up to help Wilson Fisk to a degree. So curious how this ends up playing out.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Lillard just like he's so good in this. He's so good at that like unhinged. I'm gonna like do some really weird messed up stuff with just this smile and charisma. Um and it's interesting too because like if you think about it from the perspective of like Fisk was doing a lot of stuff that like I don't think a mayor's allowed to do.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, why is he going so unchecked? And then this episode addresses that, and you have like the district attorney and all these people, and they're like, you can't do this. We need oversight. And then one call from Val, and he's like, oh, actually, yeah, you're allowed to do this, and I'll help you. Do you want me to kill some vigilantes for you? Like the turn is so quick, so it almost makes you think like I wonder what was in that shipment on that ship. Like, because obviously there was weapons, which Matt saw, but I feel like there's something more to it, right? Like, why would the Val send in people to get something off of that salvage crew and then kill everybody afterwards? Like I wonder if there's like on top of the weapons that Fisk is getting to arm his people or whatever, like, is there like adamantium or something bigger going on that's going to lead to the bigger Marvel picture? Like, I have a feeling something like that might be happening.
Yeah, my sense is Mr. Charles is basically like here to like basically like keep Fisk from going too like out of control. Whereas a sense like I think Valentina wants to use him for her own purposes. I think like she's using Mr. Charles to sort of like keep an eye on him, make sure that like what he's doing like serves her interest and the interest of her new Avengers allegedly, basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Valentina pulled the strings to get Fisk as the mayor, because that whole port project was like, there's an unchecked way to bring goods into this country. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she had a hand in getting Fisk elected mayor.
Yeah. Definitely fun to track there. We also get the Heather Glenn storyline where like at the end of last season when she breaks up with Matt, joins the mayor's administration as like the as like her mental health specialist. She interviews Jack Duquesne, the swordsman, who's like a big club of the task force, and like we see like the trauma of her situation with Muse from last year, and she's like basically like coerced into like manipulating like altering Jack's records to like basically give him a better chance to be convicted at trial. So it's just to see like where her struggles are with going on with this.
Yeah, I like didn't really like her character last season, to be honest. And like she almost kind of feels like maybe like because filmed stuff from the show, the season one first, and then
Yep.
they redid a lot of shots, but they had to kind of lump everything in together. And she kind of feels like one of those characters that was initially in it. But I the whole Muse thing is interesting. And it was really eerie too. Like, she's clearly writing down false information when she's interviewing the swordsman, or not the swordsman. But then you see Muse like, and then the camera starts panning like diagonal, and you feel like anxious in that moment. Like you can almost feel how she's feeling, and then yeah, and then she's coping with like drugs and alcohol, and they're doing a lot with her now, and I have no idea where that's gonna go. So that's a good thing. You don't want to know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, you don't know where it's going to go either. And like obviously there's a lot going on with her. And I think the last thing from this episode is not a ton happening here. Like the conference at the end at Cherry's apartment where like the task force shows up to basically try and extract like information from Cherry about like who Daredevil is. And then Daryl shows up, he gets distracted because he hears Cherry having a heart attack. He basically gets pinned down, like they pull his mask so they realize who it is, and then he gets saved off screen by what's his name? By ah, fucking Wilson Bethel's character,
Uh,
Bullseye.
Bullseye. Yeah, I was gonna say Poindexter. Bullseye. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you see Bullseye now with knife throwing skills, basically kills all the agents, and get the creepy shot at the end of like the knife landing next to Matt. It says you're welcome on it. So definitely fun now because you know how much these characters despise each other. That Bullseye is on basically Matt's side, sort of the sense of like the enemy of your enemy is my friend sort of deal.
Yeah, and it's that shot was cool too because, obviously Cherry's having a heart attack, and it was a parallel to the way that Foggy died
Yeah.
last season. And then who saves the day? The guy that killed Foggy. Like it's like, oh man, the soap opera drama of this, just no, 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 just eat it up.
Yeah.
It's I, they're gonna have to probably team up because like they all hate Fisk, right? But like Matt really wants to be the one to take Fisk down, and he wants to do it legally the right way. So something's gonna break. Matt's gonna probably snap, or his identity is gonna be revealed, or I don't know. But bringing back Bullseye is interesting, and then also a thing that we missed. I think what's her name said I have my sources. Did she say something along the lines of like, let me call Jess or let me ask Jess something? Like there was like a hint or a nod to potentially Jessica Jones. And I know she was revealed in the trailer. So I'm like, we're going to see Jessica Jones soon.
Yeah, definitely a fair point. I do all think we also a lot we missed the beginnings of the Matt and Karen are in their hangout. Matt's basically like saying the hopeful line, oh, like we got to expose him, like show that he's running weapons through the port and the project's a front, and like hopefully Albany does the right thing. They got to do the right thing. Whereas like he's trying to go by the books and like dead like Bullseye is gonna be like, you know what, like we can't like just risk like let the system figure it out because he controls the system. We got to like take him out ourselves and go from there. I think that's gonna be a conflict at some point in the season.
Oh yeah, I mean you're seeing from the top down like the whole system. I mean, what's her name is in charge of the CIA and pulling the strings. Like the whole system is completely shot and corrupt. Like, and Matt's trying to fix it. And then even the law firm with Christy, I forget her
Yeah,
name.
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Like she's even like trying to fight the system, and then like her old partner comes in, and there's that whole dynamic. So it's like the good guys are really, really getting beaten down by the system, and like something's gonna break, something's gonna snap, and it's probably gonna be Matt. And I mean, you have between Bullseye and the Punisher and Jessica, like there's gonna be I think there's gonna be a lot going on, and like this first episode, while it was like not a ton happened, it was like a really good setup to what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think we've sort of realized here. I mean, we've heard basically that the Punisher is not in this season because we know that they alter their release schedule a little bit because after this season ends on May 5th, we're getting a basically special presentation of the Punisher, like just like a Punisher like special here. We know he's going to be in the Spider-Man movie, so that explains why they didn't have like John Bernthal on set too much. Probably why he's not there in season two. You did mention that we do have Kristen Ritter confirmed to come back as Jessica Jones. That's going to be fun to see her here. So like my question to you is this. Obviously, like we know that they have to pass on the Netflix shows. We know that, like they have connections to the other Defenders characters like Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Do you think we get more of them in this season? You think it's just Jessica Jones?
I would like there to be more. I would think it'd be really cool because like if you're trying to put a vigilante group together to take down Fisk and his task force, like you already have like the Defenders, that's just easy. They're already there. And there is a comic book, there is a run, I forget which one of the comics where um like Matt Murdock gets outed and he like denies it. And the way that they kind of resolve it is like Matt's in public and he actually has Danny Rand dress up as Daredevil and like do stuff while Matt's in the public to be like, see, that's clearly not me. Also, I'm blind. Like, how can I fight crime? So like they could do something along those lines. I think Matt's gonna identity is going to get revealed. I think they're doing that thing where it's like they try to peel the band-aid off a little bit and like it hurts and then they're gonna rip it off eventually. And like you have the Defenders there to do that with him. So do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not, but it'd be really cool if we saw everybody come back.
I think we get all four of them in this season. I think Jessica being there is most of the time. Like, I think maybe you get Luke Cage for like a cameo.
Right.
I don't think Mike Coulter's doing a ton right now in terms of projects, and maybe like he popped by one day and they just filmed a couple scenes of him. I think like if you
Yeah.
get, I think this show's renewed for a season three. Maybe you're gonna get more of the group in season three at that point, like when like whatever the next phase of this show is, because like you do have all that history to pull from the Netflix shows to you can start cycle back through.
Yeah. And if you want to redeem, Iron Fist, because that was probably the weakest of the Netflix Defenders.
Not even close.
Yeah. So like if you want to like redeem him and bring him back, like this is a perfect avenue to do that. But yeah, I agree. I think we're gonna get Jessica Jones, maybe like a Luke Cage cameo at most, and I think that's about it. I think there's already a lot of characters and a lot of moving parts here, so I don't think they're gonna drown it with too much. But there probably will be like winks and nods and mentions of things.
Yeah. At least something to keep track of here. Like, do you think we get any other like cameos in the bigger Marvel universe? Like, it's not the Netflix people.
I would love Spider-Man.
That
I
will
like
that will never happen.
that will never happen. Daredevil and Spider-Man do team up. Like that would be cool. Bigger picture, I don't know if we're gonna get any visual things in season two. Like they've already mentioned Val, and I'm not sure where this is timeline wise, but there is the new Avengers. Like maybe you have like the new Black Widow show up or do something. Like there's like one of like the lower ones, but I don't think so. I think they're gonna mention a lot of bigger Marvel pictures, and this is gonna tie into the bigger story. But I think if they're gonna do a season three, which I think they already started filming,
Yeah.
I think that's where maybe you'll see like Daredevil team up with Thor. And it's not gonna be Thor, but you know what I mean? Like you'll see a bigger name other than just like these smaller B, C tiered kind of people.
Yeah. Like, I personally find that I'd rather they bring me back people from the Netflix show and get them into the MCU timeline. That's where I prefer they go. Because like I know like now like we've seen him in with Spider-Man in the first movie when Charlie Cox is there as Matt Murdock, and I know there's a rampant speculation online that he's actually in the movie and that they're hiding that, and he's basically denied it, but you don't believe that. I know you don't.
Well, I mean, it's they did this already with Spider-Man with the trailer where it was the action shot of everybody diving in one direction and clearly there were two missing people. Like they're doing that again. And it's like somebody's fighting the hand with Spider-Man. Like it would make sense for it to be Daredevil, but like maybe I wonder, do you think like does Elektra resurface? Is she coming back too? Like how much from that pot are we bringing back in for to this, you know?
Well, according to the casting on the Wikipedia page, like one name that we have seen, obviously got Josie last season, so like that was nice. But like Detective Mahoney's coming back allegedly, so
Oh, interesting.
yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, we last saw him, I think in season, I think I want to say like season 3 of Daredevil's the last time we saw him. So like he's been there since the beginning. So like good to see him back. Like I want Turk back. Turk was in everything.
Right. Yeah. See, I didn't look at any of the IMDb stuff. I'm trying to stay as blind as possible. Like I almost wish I didn't know Jessica Jones was coming back because like that would have been such a cool reveal to see like, oh, that's her. Because I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think of the Marvel Netflix stuff, season one of Jessica Jones might be the best one.
Yeah,
If
it's
if it's not Daredevil season one, it's Jessica Jones. You could probably interchange the two, but so bringing her back, I'm like very excited. I love Jessica Jones.
yeah, Jessica Jones season 1 is like very psychologically disturbing on a lot of levels.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's there's something there. Marvel's kind of doing this a little bit too because they just put out that show. I can't remember the name of it. I'm so bad with names. But I like a superhero that like has powers but doesn't want to be a superhero. Like I love that kind of story.
Yeah,
So
that's very Wonder Man, which just got picked up for a season too.
Wonder Man, that's what I was, yeah, yeah. So like you have Wonder Man, Jessica Jones, like I love that kind of stuff. So bringing that in, I think just keep making the world bigger. That's what I want. It's where I think MCU right now has potential to like go full steam ahead and pick it back up as long as they don't fumble these next few movies. So like I'm cautiously optimistic, but I like the direction we're headed in.
Yeah, and I'm very happy we're getting it like once a year because it's not a thing also with these a lot of these like shows nowadays. Because you have to wait 3 years between seasons, 2 years between seasons. Like we got one last year in March, we got one this year in March, and it looks like we're on track to get one next year in March. So like, even though it's only episodes, at least it's coming annually.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we need to do quality over quantity, and I think they're starting to do that. And it seems like finally starting to learn the right lessons from their mistakes. And like the good thing about Daredevil is it doesn't need to tie into the bigger picture. It could be its own contained because Daredevil's boots on the ground city, small time. Like he's not huge. He doesn't need to be tied into this doom intergalactic conflict. He can just be in New York City, but it'd be cool if he teamed up with somebody like a Spider-Man or somebody came in and like they did like a thing. Somebody that isn't She-Hulk, because they kind of teamed up in a, kind of way. But yeah, I like the direction we're headed in and I hope they stick the landing.
Yeah, I also have the right shout for I think the Spider-Man character that I think will appear that could appear in like kind of this scale of a show. Like it's not gonna like cause Sony to lose their minds. Like this feels like a right spot for like Ned to show up
Oh, okay, yeah.
because like
Potentially, yeah, because he does have some type of like ability, and there is some backstory to that character in like the comics that you could do stuff with. I thought you were gonna say like, do you think anybody from the Sony Spider-Man universe? Do you think any of those people are gonna
no,
pop
I
up?
think I think there is no universe who will ever, for rights reasons, see Spider-Man on a Disney Plus show.
Right.
I think Ned could because I think that's a character where like like he's not has no powers in in the universe yet. That could change in the brand new day, which we don't know about yet. We have a lot of like he's a lot of fun. He's a face that like you could point at the screen at, ooh, that guy. Like if you're watching as like a MCU casual, like I think like that would be the one I'd be looking for.
Yeah, I don't think I see that in this season of Daredevil, but that is a good character to like pop into things here and there to tie into the bigger picture.
Maybe
I
maybe
think they're
season
doing
three.
that with Val. I think Val's that character right now that they're choosing to like tie into the bigger picture.
Yeah, maybe season 3 for that.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. And it is interesting, like, to see what happens here. And I know you have thoughts like on that Spider-Man trailer as well. So, like, obviously, this is connected to this show, like, tangentially. We know that Punisher's gonna be there. Like, what are you thinking about this movie?
I loved it. I loved the Spider-Man trailer so much. I was like, I saw it. I was so skeptical because I'm like, this is the fourth one now. I don't think Spider-Man's ever made it this far. Marvel's in a bit of a weird spot. Sony's in a weird spot. And like, it was just perfect. It was everything that I wanted it to be. I and seeing the Punisher there, and then I like adult Spider-Man. You know, as much as I love 15-year-old Peter Parker trying to figure his stuff out, and like he's not really an adult right now. I think he's like probably 20s, early 20s. But, I like Spider-Man better when his problems become more adult problems and him trying to find that balance. And the trailer was great. They're bringing back the hand of all like things. I'm like, that's cool. Like the villains that they showed are cool. I'm so excited. This feels like the Spider-Man movie that I've wanted this entire time.
Yeah, yeah, like and the hand infamous Daredevil villain as well, which leads further to make you think Daredevil will show up in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean it's funny. They're almost like swapping villains because I think like the hand notoriously is like a Daredevil thing, which you just said, and then Wilson Fisk is usually a Spider-Man villain. So they're kind of flip-flopping. So it's like it's so interchangeable, and they're both in New York City, and nobody knows who Spider-Man is. He's kind of going back to his friendly neighborhood roots and trying to like help the city out. So like the seeds are planted for a team up. It's just a matter of like he's Spider-Man's teaming up with somebody in that trailer.
Yeah,
There's a missing person in that shot. I think they're doing the same thing they did with No Way Home. I just not sure who it's going to be. It'd be cool if it was Daredevil. I don't think you'd see Punisher in that because Punisher doesn't do things like that. But
yeah. Punisher being there though is going to be very, very interesting to see like how they take like one of the most violent characters in Marvel and presumably get him down to like PG-13 level violence. I'm curious like what that looks like.
yeah, PG-13, you're allowed one F word, right?
Yeah,
So there's John Bernthal could cash in on the one Spider-Man F word. But yeah, I don't think Punisher's gonna have a humongous role. I think it's just more to set the tone of like Spider-Man is like reestablishing this network of people to help him out. And also like he's like being mutated and turning into like maybe an actual spider, and he's getting like organic web shooters. I'm like, this is great. This is perfect. I want all of this. Keep it coming. This was made for like, like I joke that like I want Ahsoka to be like Star Wars ass Star Wars. Like this Spider-Man movie, I'm like, this is some Spider-Man. This is what I want. I'm very excited for it.
yeah. We have to continue tradition also of getting one of the big MCU people like in the movie as like one of his mentors. Here we got Iron Man, the first one. We had obviously Doctor Strange in the third one. Now we got Hulk here too. So
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm curious because that Hulk, I'm not sure because like it's Bruce Banner,
yeah.
and I thought we left off where he like merged Bruce Banner and the Hulk together, but I guess he's back to Bruce Banner, which I'm sure they'll explain or they'll have something to say about it. But um, I have a theory that maybe like he might know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man because like Bruce Banner doesn't remember, but like does that include the Hulk too? Does the Hulk remember Spider-Man? I don't. I guess those will be answered. Hulk's an interesting one. I just because he's kind of replacing the Dr. Connors role of helping him out because Dr. Connors has already been used. I'm excited. I don't know. You have to stop me because I'm gonna keep talking about Spider-Man now, and we're here to talk about Daredevil. So let's go back.
Yeah, so keep in mind here, this episode, the show drops on Tuesdays on Disney Plus. They are doing a double drop this coming week. So you get 2 and 3 this week, and then it's one episode at a time until May 5th, and then you get the Punisher special on May 12th.
No, I didn't know they were doing two at once. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it was originally supposed to end May 12th, and then they did the Punisher, put the Punisher special in that spot. They moved it up a week, so everything is done before that.
Okay, interesting. I'm surprised they didn't drop two right away, which makes me think that like two and three got lumped together for a reason. So that's probably going to be like almost a smaller contained arc within itself, but potentially.
Yeah, and I've heard that episode 3 is the explosive one, really gets the season kicking into high gear. So I would like not be shocked if they like wanted to get to it faster. Like not you have like this season moved up a little bit because of the Punisher thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that seems to be the new streaming model. Like Invincible just did it. Invincible dropped episodes 1, 2, and 3 at the exact same time, and then went to like a weekly model. And I think it's just, I mean, Andor was doing 3 episodes at a time. I think getting a full arc is a cool way, a cool like hybrid streaming model of like you're waiting, but also you're getting a good meaty chunk of it. I like that.
Yeah, like the Hulu group, Hulu Disney Plus model seems to like that. As I know, like, have you seen Paradise on Hulu?
Not yet, no.
It's a very good show. They do the same thing where they drop their see this they it's an ASOC, they drop the first three all at once and they go weekly till the end. So like I think it's a model they seem to like where you get a nice dose of story, then you're hooked and you stay for like a couple of weeks afterwards.
Yeah, and 3 episodes feels like enough to know if you're going to want to stick around or not. Like if you watch 3 episodes and you're like, this isn't for me, then like it's not for you. But if you watch 3 episodes and you want to keep going, then you're in, you're hooked. That feels like I kind of like that hybrid approach.
Yeah, it's funny because like you see different approaches here, and on the Disney Plus front as well. You got like the Star Wars show, Maul Shadow Lord. They're doing 2 episodes a week for 5 weeks. It's basically an event series, so it's like just like a sprint to get it all done in like 5 weeks.
Oh, that's cool too. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So Nick, thanks for all the time. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to follow you on the Twitch streams, how can I do that?
Oh yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to be here. Yeah, if you want, go to twitch.tv/the recovery room. Right now we are playing Resident Evil, the new Resident Evil game, which I'm forgetting the name of. Oh boy. The new Resident Evil game. We're streaming that, so if you want to check that out.